You guys, it's Abby and MotorCityNerds, and I know I look homeless, and I'm sorry for that. But this is going to be a little bit slowed down because I feel like I have a headache. But we need to talk about Interview with the Vampire episode 4. We're really hitting a tipping point here. And I remember why I liked Armand so much, because I was like, why is he like one of my faves? But I'm really worried about what he's doing here. But now I remember why. It's because he has a crazy backstory, and I haven't read that book in a long time, but yeah, welcome, hi. We talk about Interview with the Vampire, we talk about House of the Dragon is coming, that's really big, and I got a lot of stuff lined up for that, so it's just been a little crunched in lately. Let's talk about how they're getting really into being theater kids. I really like that. I was never a theater kid, but I was theater kid adjacent, so I appreciate, like, even them going out to dinner in this episode, I was like, oh my god, you're having a rap party? I really like this. So let's just start it off. She's got to be Lulu. And like I said, they were demeaning her and degrading her by giving her this character. And we really drive that home this episode. She's really sick of that. And Delaney, what's her first name? Oh my God, she's killing it. If Emmys aren't given out for this, I don't know. This is bull. This is absolute bull. Santiago has taken over. I'm really loving all these characters for different reasons. And we've really hit a point here. People were saying this in the comments, right? They were like, I'm loving the Rocky Horror vibe. And at first I was like, is that what's going on? And then no, that's totally what's happening here, where people are getting like infatuated with it and having fun, and they have their traditions that they're doing with it. And I really like that part of it. But like I said, we're really leaning into the theater aspect of it, and I love it. But the play is huge. The play is a big deal, and you can tell it kind of pisses Santiago off, but also he's being a sneak. He's being a sneak the whole episode, but he's great. But the monologue that Claudia has when she says, I'm a fierce vampire trapped in the body of a little girl. I'm reminded every day, and now I'm reminded here every day, and I hate this. That whole scene she did was, my notes just say Emmys. So I felt this way a lot throughout this episode of, if this isn't nominated, this is some bull. And when Armand says, with your nomadic passion, I don't know if he'll pick up on that, but that just means like you like to move around, you don't like to stay in the same place for too long, and now she's getting bored with it, and Santiago sticks up for her. And this is when they were really going hard, and they were having their little backs and forths about Louis right in front of him in the theater. I was like, oh my god. But I really love that Santiago appreciated that Armand didn't hide from it. And you gotta remember, Armand is nobody to slouch at all. So when he's like, nice volley, and they're going back and forth, I really liked that whole bit. That might have been my favorite, and probably my second favorite part of the episode, was them just doing their back and forth in the theater, and Louis like, I have a name, and he's like, I'm not talking to you. We are all feeling a little bit of a kind of way, Armand. Don't just come at Claudia. But now we know that like a bit of a civil war is breaking out in the middle of this coven. And Santiago saying, are you companions? And Louis saying no, and Armand saying yes. And Louis throughout the episode going, I don't know you. And then Armand showing him who he was and his original name and things like that. I thought that was so beautiful. Now, Santiago and Claudia talk about her journals, which I was waiting to get brought up. So I like that was happening. And I still think Armand or somebody is editing the journals that Daniel is reading. I really believe that. They're back and forth about the journals, and then Claudia is handing out flyers, right? And she runs into that dressmaker. And I really liked how they're balancing this of, this could be a companion for her, this could be a relationship type thing, it could just be a friend, it could just be somebody I relate to outside of this group. And they play that line really well, but I definitely think Claudia has more feelings towards her. But the fact that woman can tell her what certain feelings were like, or this was like, and even getting her period, the way they react to that, Claudia never knew that life. She never got to be a woman. So I really liked the way they did that, but it just adds to the tragedy of Claudia even more. Her fangs come out. This is her symbol of being a woman 1,000%. You know what I'm saying here? She got to be a grown woman. She grew up. Claudia never got that. She got fangs. But when they were out to eat, and they were going back and forth, and we really see that mimic part of Santiago come out, right? And he's talking smack about Louis, and he talks smack about the accent, but when Louis grabbed Santiago by the tongue and was going, say it, I was like, oh, I really love you, Louis. And I love that this episode brought up repeatedly, remember what I used to do. Remember who I used to be. I was really good at running things back when I did that. There are things that I do have skills in, and one of them is, I'm not going to take your shit, Santiago. I'm not going to take it. I'm not one of your little friends out here. I'm not doing that. They keep claiming they have a problem with Louis doing the artsy-fartsy thing, but it's like, you're doing the artsy-fartsy thing, so chill. But he's doing it with real people, so they don't like that. And when the guy, the art dealer or the art guy tells Louis that his work isn't that good, I really felt for Louis, and then he gets all mad. But I'm like, I didn't take it as that guy was being mean, but he was being dismissive of Louis, I felt like. And it could have came off as disrespect, or maybe it was flat out disrespect. Tell me how you guys felt about it. But I felt like he was just a nonchalant uppity, maybe more because he was American. Maybe it was because he was black. I don't know. I didn't take that as much, but I did take that it's like, you're being kind of dismissive of me and not really talking to me right. But he does say that thing about the picture of Armand. You caught the fragility in him. And he's like, oh yeah, that's the last thing this man is. But he's like, no, you got something special. You got what's behind that. And later on in the episode, when Armand talks about that, it makes sense. But also Louis kind of sees, even when he tries to burn it later and he can't, this is kind of what reminds him Armand is more than what he puts out to the world. But the stuff with Claudia and the dressmaker, I really did like that a lot. And so she's there for a minute. And when she tells her, like, you want to ride home, I took that as, like, I have a crush on you a bit. Or, like I said, you could take it anyway. It could just be a friend, somebody to relate to, somebody to talk to, somebody outside this coven, somebody I do like. Maybe I like them a lot. But what that woman is able to give her, talking about even sleeping with this guy who was against them in World War II, was something nice. It wasn't this evil thing. And all Claudia knows is evil things. Oh, my God. But I laughed out loud. We have so much Lestat here, and I really loved seeing him, and the ending was really sad. But when Armand is coming to walk with Louis to the gallery, and he starts quoting Romeo and Juliet, starts laughing and making fun of it, I was like, oh my God. I love you so much, Lestat. But we need to remember, this is that romanticized way of Lestat that Louis is remembering. It's not everything. But that really made me laugh out loud. And then they go to the gallery. And like I was saying with my other episode review, whenever these vampires are floating, they're saying, I'm top dog here, I'm above you, and I think of myself as above you. Now, when they're going into the gallery at first, we see Lestat is floating to the top floor. And we see that Armand and Louis are walking up the stairs together. But in Louis' mind, Lestat is floating. And I've been saying that's a metaphor, but also outright, I'm above you. Literally and figuratively, I'm above you. And Lestat sees himself as above everybody. There at the gallery, Santiago is sneaking into Louis' apartment to snatch up all of Claudia's journals and find some dirt on them. So he's not all he's cracked up to be right now. But we find out that Armand was a slave, was sold, was bought. We find out about his maker. He's painted in this artwork, and he's talking all about his backstory, and I really loved all of that, even with Lestat being a catty asshole in the background. It was great. It was amazing. That whole back and forth was on point. And like I said, we have the snooping through everything going on, or was that later in the episode? But either way, they're snooping through while they're gone. But when Armand is done talking about his backstory and he gets the alert from the rest of the coven, it's like, oh my God, you'll never guess what Claudia's doing. And he appears in the window after the dressmaker walks in. He's like, Claudia! I was like, Jesus, that legit made me jump. But the big takeaway from telling his backstory is that he told Louis his original name. He told him something important. Now remember, in the beginning of the episode, Louis says, do you remember my mother's name? Now that's something really important to Louis. And he doesn't remember it. And he's like, yeah, something I don't talk about a lot. So I don't know where my camera died in there, but it died somewhere. But either way, we find out this very sensitive information about Armand, and his name's Arun, and all this stuff. Right. That's the big stuff we got. When he's going back to snatch up Claudia and walking with her back to the theater, and he tells her, I know what you did to your maker, and she's telling him how unhappy she is and how she knows it's you and Louis, not me and Louis anymore. Like, cut it. And then he says the thing about Lestat. I didn't take that as a threat from Armand as much as I took it as a warning. Like, I'm looking out for you, and she took it more as a threat. But I could see it being both ways, but I felt more like Armand was protecting her, and she was taking it like, don't big brother me like Louis does. But then when he gripped up Santiago and essentially told him, know your role, I'll kill you too, I was like, oh my God, Armand, oh my God. And you remember, just, I run this, I'm Armand, I run this, not you, remember who's in charge here. And I loved seeing that part of him. But the snatch up was so good. And Claudia had one of the best lines of this when she tells Louis, he was threatening me with it, Louis. He was threatening me with it. You don't get it. And then Louis says, oh yeah, that doesn't sound like him. And she goes, oh yeah, I forgot. Love makes you stupid and fickle and dumb out here. And I'm like, yeah, no. And then she says, you picked another one over me. You picked another one over me, Louis. But he says, you picked the coven over me. But I don't think Louis really feels that way. In his defense, Claudia has been getting her way with everything. You're unhappy here, you're unhappy here, you're unhappy here, you're unhappy here, and now I think you're happy, and now we're not again. When she first comes into the scene, though, and Lestat's there and says, another terrible decision. Lestat was killing it this episode. It was great. It was great. But like I said, we're only getting the funny, quippy side of Lestat, really, that Louie's choosing to remember. And when he's talking to him and then breaks up with him in his mind, in his heart, that was so sad. It was very sad, especially having Armand walk up in the background and when Lestat says, what's he doing here? Oh, you're going to break up with him? And he's like, mm-hmm. And then you just know, no, Lestat, I'm breaking up with you in my heart. On the inside, for me, I'm done. I'm choosing Armand over you. And they're still being watched and they're still being creeped on. But eventually Louis calls him Arun instead of Armand, meaning like, I want to get to know the you that doesn't want to lead this and wants to do their own thing and wants to do this job that was given to you that you don't want. I don't want you to have it anymore. I want you to do what you want. I want to know you, not the you that was given to society and told what to do. And I really liked that. That was really, really beautifully done. Now, Santiago has the journals. Claudia is thinking Armand's against her. Armand and Louis are officially together. Lestat is out of the picture for now, but we got Talamascus stuff. Now, that's the crew. We covered Mayfair Witches over here. The crew that is working against the paranormal stuff or with the paranormal stuff, and it's all over. It's really big in Mayfair Witches. And the workers for that are sending Daniel stuff. Now, Daniel's stuff here, we got a lot. And I'm like, no. Armand was all into Daniel. I couldn't believe they cut the episode off in the middle. But he's looking at all this info, and he has to play it off earlier in the episode when he brings up the fire, and they're like, what fire? We never told you about that. And then Armand is putting images into his brain. And throughout the episode, that's happening until we get to the end. And we get the original interview. The original interview with Louis from the 70s, Daniel is listening to. And we hear really animalistic noises. And we hear Louis, stop. Louis, stop. Armand is telling Louis to stop. And then Daniel finds his name on a list. And he finds his wife's name, Catherine... What is it? Catherine something. And I'm assuming that's his wife, right? And we don't exactly know why they're on this list yet. But then Armand and Louis are fighting in the other room. And then Daniel gets a whole vision of being in the room with the interview stuff. And there's a dead body there, which is crazy and wild. And the episode cuts off while he's remembering. But in the preview for next week, Armand was trying to change him, right? Armand was trying to change him, and that made Louis mad, and Louis beat him up or tried to kill him. What happened there? What do we think happened there? Did Lestat show up? No, because they said, Louis, stop. I don't know, but that stuff was getting crazy. And the fact that this group is giving Daniel all this info, I just want to know more about them. And I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. And like I said, I'm sorry that I'm not all done up and everything, but it's a thing today. I'm just feeling tired, and it is what it is, but I love this so much, and I want to know what everybody thinks, and I think this episode was like the official tipping point into crazy town we're going to get. But I'm like, I think the journals are being edited by Armand, Claudia's, because the picture thing happened. Daniel and Armand definitely had something going on, and Louis got upset, and Armand is playing mind games and blocking it out, and we all know what's going to happen to Claudia, but I'm like, this is going to be sad. And I'm Abby with MotorCityNerds. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm on OF. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all the things down below. But yeah, Interview with a Vampire. I will continue to say this. This is the best show on TV, and it's being slept on.